Hello all, good morning. Am I audible to all? Okay. So in the last lab class, we did programs like we learned how to take command line argument inputs from the user, and we have performed some mathematical operation like addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. Then we learned to take a user input using an input keyword. Also, we learned like how you are going to typecast these values. Like by default, each and every input in Python is going to be a string type. So also we learned like if you want an integer input, you have to write an int keyword before the input keyword. Okay. So that means we are going to typecast this value. Either you can typecast a value while taking an input only, or you can also typecast these values later on. It's totally depend upon you. Also we learned like how you're going to reverse a string in Python without using any loop. Okay, so we learned like how you're going to reverse a string in Python, like using a square bracket and some slicing operator with a stepping function, like in a square bracket colon colon minus one. So it is going to reverse a string in Python without using any loops concept. So today, what we are going to do? Today we are going to do programs to demonstrate different built-in methods of list. Okay. So today's your first task will be write a program to demonstrate different built-in method of list in Python. So for this, what you can do, either you can take an empty list and append some let's see if I say some different built-in methods of list. So append function, it is going to append a new value or new input to the end of the list. You can either take an empty list and take a user input to update the list, or you can take some by default list and do some you can use some built-in methods of list in Python. Is the question clear to everyone? So write a program to demonstrate different built-in methods of list in Python. So either you can take an empty list and do some take some input from a user and append the values, or you can take a predefined list also. Is the task clear to everyone? Anyone, any doubt in the question?
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, yes.
Sir, actually, today our class is having a mock interviews. So most of the students will be leaving and joining according to the timing that they have been provided for the interview.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And sir, I also had one more question. Is there
So
a
are
Google
you
Classroom still? Sorry, sir.
Yeah, regarding the Google Classroom, I will be talking regarding this to the subject coordinator, which is Manali ma'am. So how is she
Okay.
is following the rules and all. How I will talk to her and I will inform you all. Okay, right?
Sure. Sure, sir.
Okay. And regarding the mock interview, are all of the people going for that, or some of the people?
Yes, sir. All those who have applied in placements, everyone will be going for the interview. But different timings have been provided as it is a personal interview.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So students will be joining and leaving according to their time.
Okay, so there's a one request for that. So the people who are going to leave the meeting for the interview, please write your name on the chat box so that I can mark your attendance. Like you have come for the classes, but you have, because of mock interview, you have left the meeting.
Sure, sure, sir.
Okay. So for the time being, you have to write a program to demonstrate different built-in methods of list in Python. People who are late, I'm saying that, see, in the last class, we learned like how to take a command line in argument input from a user. We also learned how to take an input using an input keyword. And we also learned like how you are going to reverse a string without using any loop. So for today's class, we have to write a program to demonstrate different built-in methods of list in Python. Is the question clear to everyone? Okay. Manoj, Janvi, Kevin, Sarthak, Rahul, Yash, Ayush, and Dhruvi, and Dharmendra. Is that question clear to everyone? Okay. So for just go try to solve this problem. If you are facing any problem, any doubt, you can ask me or you can write in the chat box. So write a program to demonstrate different built-in methods of list in Python. For this, what you can do, either you can take an empty list and take a user input and append those items in the list, or you can say what you can do, you can take a predefined list and perform some built-in methods. Try at least 5 to 10. Minimum is 5, maximum is 10. At least 5 to 10 methods of list in Python. The people who are late. So your one is to write a program to demonstrate different built-in methods of list in Python. Either you can start with an empty list and take a user input and append those values inside a list, or what you can do, you can also take a predefined list and perform some built-in function or built-in methods of list on those inputs, on those values. Paritos, are you there? Paritos, your name is not in the list here regarding attendance, like for 7 TC3. Today is your first class, right? Paritos, I have taken attendance for last two class regarding a lab. I don't have your name in the list.
Sir, hello, sir.
Yes, yes.
Sir, our CR sent this, so I have joined this session.
So in my class today is your first class, right?
Ah, yes, sir.
Yeah, that is only I'm asking.
Okay, sir.
Okay. The people who are going to have an interview, you can write your enrollment number in the chat box and you can leave. Later on, I am going to confirm it from the CR for that. Unnecessary, please don't leave the lab, please. Anyone who has completed the task one? Okay, VS ASCII Boolean. Mihir, I am talking about the list method, not the Python method. Some methods of list are like, say, append function, which is going to append an element. Append function is a pop function. It is going to pop an element. Sort function to sort the element inside the list. Reverse function. Okay. Rutvik, you are also today's first class in my lab.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Pranav, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Today is also your first class in my lab.
Uh, yes, sir. I think.
Okay. Anyone completed the task one other than Mihir? Anyone? If you're facing any problem, you can ask. Are you all familiar with Jupyter Notebook or say Spider or say Google Colab? Heard about it. You are not familiar with it? Okay. Just complete a task one. Just I am going to give you a brief intro regarding Spider and all. Okay. So because in the I think after like some preparation was going on like regarding labs and all. So we are going to have some advanced Python also in the last three or four lab. So in that case, we are going to use, you will not be able to use those functions or say some libraries in the Python ideally. So in that case, we are going to use Spider and all. So I was thinking that instead of shifting later on, why don't we shift now only to Spider or say Jupyter Notebook or say Google Colab? Okay. Okay, let me explain you about Spider, Jupyter Notebook, and Google Colab, and we'll be doing the task one on any one of these platforms. Okay, Mihir, just wait for a minute. Let's see. One is Anaconda. Okay, Anaconda is one type of software. You can say it consists of each and every platforms. Like it will give you integrated development environment for Python. It is going to give you an integrated development environment for other languages also, like R and others language. Okay, so Anaconda is one of the good you can say software which gives you an ID for both Spider and also and Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so to download if you want to use Jupyter Notebook for see first one, if you want to use Jupyter Notebook, you have to use install Anaconda. Okay, so biggest problem with Anaconda is that it is a heavy software. So whenever you are going to run Anaconda on your system, it is going to consume a large amount of RAM. Okay, so if you're having an new upgraded system like i5 minimum 10th generation is there and above with 8 GB of RAM, then it's good. Something else. Okay, so you can see for downloading an Anaconda, you have to just search for Anaconda Python on Google. You can say individual edition, that is for single user, which we are going to use. Okay, and just click on download. Okay, it is going to be of around 500 MB. So after installing Anaconda, let me show you. It is going to take a large amount of time to open. Like if you're a Windows user, you can directly download it, or if you're having a Mac, you can click on Mac, or say if you want a Linux version, you can click on Linux version. Okay, for a time being, what you can also do, you can go for Jupyter Online Notebook. Now if you if you are familiar with Jupyter Notebook, let me show you. Okay, for Jupyter Notebook, like I say, if you want in your own system, like you can say local system, you need to install Anaconda. So if by anyhow, if you don't want to install extra software and all, if you don't want to give an extra effort, what you can do, you can also use Jupyter Online Notebook. You can see here some online notebooks are here, like classic notebook for Python. It is Jupyter Lab, Julia. It is for this Jupyter is for R, C++ and all. So we are going to use notebook for Python and one for Jupyter Lab. So it's going to take some time to open this one. In parallel, I also want to show you Google Colab. Okay. Now Google Colab is provided by the Google. Okay, they are providing you. So they are providing you some memories and some RAM also. So this was I was using for teaching my theory class for 7TC1. Yeah, Mir. Okay, so you can use Google Colab because see, like just so let me show you one thing. Google Colab is providing you GPU. See, when you are going for advanced machine learning or say data science use, so there what you need a use you need a GPU to train a heavy models and all. Okay, so you can see it is provided by Google for free. Okay, so you can see 107 GB as in, around 150 GB is being provided by Google for Google Colab, and is providing you a 12 GB of RAM. Okay, so for using Google Colab, you just need an internet and a browser. You can do each and every task here. Also, what you can do, you can also upload your files. So if you think like if you're doing some machine learning problems, like you're having some data set, I simply said you're having two images of let's say car and truck. So you want to classify image, which is a car image, which is a truck image. So for that you need to train the model. So for training the model, you need the data set. So for if you want to use Google Colab, you can just directly upload your file here. Okay, and you can perform those tasks here. So you can prefer Google Colab also. This is a Jupyter notebook which I was talking about. You can see. So see, these are the cells. Cells means you can run part by part of your program, one by one. Say A equal to 5, B equal to 9, print B minus A. Run the program, click on the run button. You can see the output here. So see, the benefit of doing programming in Jupyter Notebook or say Google Colab is that you can share your program with anyone, and you can also share the output. Like if I say, like in the upcoming labs, I am going to ask you to perform task on the Google Colab only. Why? The benefit of this is that you can directly save those files in a PDF format. So later on, like if you want to submit your program for the assignments and all, like preparing journals, what you can do, you can directly upload these files. So here what you're going to do, you're going to have the input also, you're going to have output also. So instead of taking a screenshot, copying those screenshot and pasting in a Word file and all, what you can do, you can directly do this task on the Google Colab. Like let me show you file new notebook. Like say today's first program, we need either we can take a predefined list or we can take an input from a user. You just say we are taking an empty list here. To take an input from a user, we are going to use input keyword, and we are going to typecast this value into integer. And like that, we are going to take a 5 different inputs. Every time after the input, we are going to append this value, list dot append. So what the append function is going to do? Anyone? What this append function is going to do in the list? Add value, right? Where they are going to add the values, Dharmendra? At last, right? Now for running this, we are going to click on the run button. Let's say I want to insert a value 5, then 10, 2, and 7, and 29. And a new cell in this. Okay. Now I said at least you have to perform use 5 different built-in methods of list. We have already used append. Now what you can use, like say we can use insert, list dot insert. What are the arguments going to be passed inside the insert function? Anyone? What are the argument we are going to pass inside the list insert? Index comma value. Okay. Now just tell me one thing. That's okay. To access the element inside the list, what we can do, we can just pass the index number. So you can say list is one type of, you can say, array in case of Python. So if you want to access the element inside the list, what you can do, you can pass the index number inside a square bracket. Like say if I say list 2, so at the index number 2, 0, 1, 2. So in Python, the element, so indexing starts from 0. Now let me show you one thing. We can also manipulate the list like this. Like say list index number 2, we want to insert the value, say 11. So when I do this list 2 equal to 11, print this. You can see that at the index number 2, it is going to replace the value. So if like if you're directly using a assignment operator to assign some value to a given index, it is going to replace the value. Okay. So if you want to keep the value also and the current index value also, and if you want to insert a new value at a given index, what you need to do, you need to use insert function. Sarthak, we are going to, the answer you have given is correct. We are going to pass the index also and also value. So we are going to pass an index 2 and value 2. So you can see here at index number 2, 2 is there. At index automatically it has updated the index of letter 1. And inside remove popcorn. Yeah, Mir, no problem. Just give me a second. Let me give you a. Let me make other people also understand. Okay. Now what we can do, we can also use pop function like list.pop. The pop is going to remove the last element. So when I use list.pop, it is going to remove the last element from the list. When I use list.pop and passed an index number, so it is going to remove the element at the given index. Okay. So when I use list.pop, so 29 is going to be popped out. Okay. So when I use list.pop, 29 is going to be popped out from the list. When I use list.pop and pass the index, so index number 1, so at the value index number 1, the value is 10. So this is going to be popped out from the list. And these are the value like 5 to 11, comma 7 is currently inside the list. Okay. Now you can see, you can save it like you can simply save it in your drive. Okay. You can also download this one. So when I say downloaded IPYNB, let me show you. So later on you can open this file whenever you want. So benefit of using a Jupyter notebook is that you can share your program with anyone. Okay. And they can edit the program. They can just say see the output also of your program. So if I'm sharing the .py file with you, you're going to just see the main code of the file. But when I say when I'm going to share .ipynb file, you can see these outputs also, which I have done. Okay. So, but see, each and every ID has their own benefit and demerits. So, if you want to see what is the current value inside this particular variable, you have to print those values. So, it is clear to everyone. Other than me here. Okay. So now, please, I need, I am asking you to share your screen and show me the program which you have done for task one, right? So one by one, Mihir, please share your screen.
Visible?
Yeah, wait for a while. Yes.
And this is the code, and this
Okay.
is the output.
Okay. Each and every time you've taken a new list, right?
Yes, sir. But sir, for a few times update, I'll continue list for animal and life.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Okay, no issue. Okay, Mir. Other people, Janvi,
Yes, sir.
Janvi, please, can you share your screen?
Yeah,
If
yes.
you
I have done the append and insert and extend and remove.
okay, you've done this in a console, right?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Mm, okay. Thanks, Janvi.
Thank you, sir.
Other people like Dharmendra. Dharmendra, have you completed a task? Okay. Anyone else? Who wants to share their screen to show the code?
Sir, I put attendance in chat, and sir, I have a meet interview in
Okay.
10 minutes.
Yeah, sure. Anyone else? Sarthak, do you want to share your screen and show me the program? Yes, sure. Okay, list append, insert, pop function, count, remove. Yeah, okay. Thanks a lot, Sarthak. Okay, let me show you one thing. So when I say when you're going to install Anaconda, you can see with Anaconda this ID come by default. Okay, so you're going to have cmd.exe prompt. It is mainly used for installing some libraries and all. Jupyter Lab, Jupyter Notebook. This Jupyter Notebook is going to run on a local system, local host. So it is going to run on the port number 8888. Okay. Some more idea like Qt console. One is Spider. I generally prefer Spider for my codings and all, like for doing some data science work and all. So it's totally depend upon you in which you are having a comfortable, which program ID you are comfortable with. You can also use VS Code. It is also one of the good one, like Visual Studio Code. These are Gluvari. Haven't used Gluviz. It is mainly used for multi-dimensional data visualization across the files. So if you're having an interest in data science and all, you can go for it. Orange, it is also mainly a tools for say extra tools for data analysis and all, and RStudio. So by default, they are by default Anaconda is not going to install this one. They are going to ask you to install, but they are going to have mainly the Python version of IDE. So Jupyter Lab, so people mainly use Jupyter Lab by default for Python language only. Jupyter Notebook also, you are going to use Python language, and Spider also you're going to use Python language. But these all are very heavy softwares, so they are going to take consume a huge amount of memory in your system. So it's totally depend upon you in which of these platform you are comfortable with. So your next task is so first of all, before starting the next task, so just tell me one thing: is set in Python mutable or not? Sorry, tuple. Are tuple mutable or not? What is the meaning of mutable? Anyone? What is the meaning of mutable? What is the meaning of mutable? Anyone? What is the meaning of mutable? See, mutable means particular data structure is going to be, we can do some updation or not after defining them. So tuple is an immutable object in Python. So once you have created a tuple, you can't add an element inside a tuple, you can't delete an element inside a tuple. So if you want to do some changes inside tuple, what you have to do, you have to convert this tuple into a list, and then only you have to, then after doing some updation on this list, you are going to convert this tuple, convert this list into again back to a tuple. So do you remember anyone what is the by default two function built-in function of tuple? Since it is an immutable object, so you are not going to have a much larger number of function or built-in function, but there are only just two built-in function in case of tuple. Do anyone remember? Anyone? Or should I ask randomly? Ayush, Rutvik, Dhruvi, Rahul. If you don't know, you can also say no, you don't know. So you are going to have only two function here. Anyone? Count and index. Okay. So next task will be write a program to demonstrate built-in methods of tuple in Python. Just take a predefined tuple and use the do function, that is count and index, on the given tuple. Is the question clear to everyone? Okay. So write a program to demonstrate built-in methods of tuple in Python. Dharmendra, are you having any doubt? Yeah, please see. You have to take a predefined tuple, okay, and demonstrate some built-in methods of tuple here, like we did in the previous task. Some methods of list were there. We tried to manipulate the list and all. Okay. In case of tuple, we don't have many built-in methods. Only we have two, because list tuples are immutable. We can't do some modification and all. But we can use count function to count the element, how many times it has appeared in the tuple. You can use index to find the element of the given element in the given index. Okay. Anyone who has completed the task? Anyone? There are just two functions to implement here. Just count and index. So for task 2, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some tuple by default. Here I'm having a tuple with variable name tup underscore num. Values are inside tuple is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A, B, boolean value true, true, then 8. So you can see when I say print tup underscore num, a value has been printed here. What is the type of tup underscore num? It is going to be of tuple type. Now when I said you have to implement some built-in function here. So by default, there are only two built-in functions. So built-in methods for tuple. One is count and another is indexing. Okay. So just say if I want to count, like I can say tup underscore num dot count. It is going to find out this value first of all in this item inside this tuple. It is going to count how many times this value or say this item has appeared in this tuple. Okay. So what will be the output here when I say tup underscore num dot count in bracket true? What is the value it is going to return here? Why it is 3? You said true, but it's returning a 3. Anyone? Why? Sarthak and Janvi. Output is 3, not 2. Why? See, 1 is also by default true in case of Python. That's why it is counting 1 as true and true and true. So it is treating it as a true value. Is this clear, Sarthak and Janvi? Why it is printing 3 instead of 2? So 1 is also in Boolean, 1 is true. That is only, it is treating it 1 as a true value. Now another function is count, index. It is going to return the index of this particular value. So it is going to return the first index of the value. So even though if you are having a repetition of value, it is going to return the first index. So you can see it here when I say tup underscore num dot index for true. So this true is a Boolean value here. So it is going to find true. So you can see the first index it is going to print here 1 because it is treating 1 as a true value. So it is clear to everyone. So first thing when I say it's printed 3 because 1 has been treated as a Boolean value. So you can see when I say find for true, it is going to return the index of 1 also. So when you're going to use dot index method, it is going to return the first occurrence of a given item. And count, it is going to count number of times the given item has appeared in the tuple. Other people in the class, it is clear to everyone. Dharmendra, name is Rakshit, Rahul, it is clear. Mohil, okay, okay. Let me take your attendance. People who for whom this class is you're attending this class for the first time, like say you're attending this class, the Python lab under me for the first time. I am going to talk with the CC for that so that I can include your name, and if they since your name is not updated on the portal, so I have to talk with them first of all. And the people who have gone for the interview, I think you have written your name on the chat. So let me note it down. Please check your name in the list which I am providing in the chat box. And thank you all. You may leave the class now. If your name is not there in the list here in the chat, please tell me, or else you can leave the class. Thank you all. Bhumik, yeah, sure. Just give me a second.